welcome to another episode of Driving Leadership. I'm really excited today. We've got Sheena Solomon, the Executive Director of the Gifford Foundation here in Central New York, right here in my building in Syracuse. This is going to be so awesome. Sheena is a dynamic leader. We're going to learn so much. We're going to take a ride in the community today. Come on, it's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, Sheena.
Hi, Bill.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Awesome to see you too. Thank you for doing this with me today.
I'm excited.
Me too. I'm really looking forward to our conversation. And we're going to get to ride in the community a little bit and check out some of the wonderful organizations you all support here at the Gifford Foundation. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. And we have a beautiful day outside. And I brought the Mini Cooper today. You're my first guest in the Mini Cooper.
Oh, my.
And you know why I chose that today for you?
Why?
Because I think the Mini Cooper is a little bit like you. Yeah. So really capable. Fun, and just a little bit of attitude. So Sheena, tell me a little bit about the Gifford Foundation and what you all do.
So the Gifford Foundation is a private foundation, and the reason why I say that because foundations are a little bit different. Like we have the Central New York Community Foundation, the Allen Family Foundation.
Right.
Gifford's a private foundation, and what makes us private is that we have no family members on the board, and we don't have any donors. We completely live off the endowment and depend on the stock market. Wow. So that makes us a little bit different.
Yeah.
And it also provides us a little bit more flexibility, right, on our grant making and how we decide to do it. It was built in 1954 when Rosamond Gifford passed away and left her estate to become a foundation.
Wow.
Instead of allowing the IRS to get the funds. Yeah. And all she said was, do good with my money. Wow. So that's what we do. Yeah. We do good with her money. It started off really focusing on brick and mortar, like buildings, rooms. So you'll see Gifford's name on lots of different things, like the Rosamond Gifford Zoo that we talked about, right? But we're not connected to the zoo. It's just named the Rosamond Gifford Zoo because we gave them a significant amount of money about 20 years ago. Yeah. So
you were sharing your love for giraffes, and you haven't gotten a giraffe in that zoo yet.
Right.
But there's a lot of support there.
There's a ton of support there. We love the zoo. We believe it's a great asset in the community and want to make it accessible to all community members.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yes, it's really important that we support and build their capacity.
That's awesome.
And that's what we do here.
Yeah.
We build the capacity of nonprofits and individuals. We give out grants to nonprofits only. So they're 501c3s and undogmatic SNCs.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't realize the reach. Yeah, that's really cool. So tell me about your path in leadership. How'd you wind up in this leadership role?
You know, sometimes the path is not the path that you create, right? Sometimes,
I think almost always. Keep going.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the path that was meant for you. I truly believe that. I've worked in nonprofit for several years. Yeah. So I actually worked at Home Headquarters. It's a local nonprofit here. I worked there for 6 years, and I was teaching home ownership there. And one of the people that went through the program of home ownership worked for the Central New York Community Foundation, and then came here to the Gifford Foundation and came and said, you know, we have an opening at the Gifford Foundation. Would you be interested? And I'm like, I don't even know what the Gifford Foundation does.
Right. It wasn't hitting your radar yet. Yeah.
But I was on the other side of the railroad track of grant making, right? Asking for grants, not giving them out. And I applied for the job. I was like, all right, I'll apply for it. And they ended up giving me a program associate job here at the Gifford Foundation. And I swear for the first year, Kathy Goldfarb-Finley, who hired me, I asked her for the first year, like, I don't understand why you hired me. Like, I don't really know what I'm doing. And she said, you know, you have more potential than you know. You have this very interesting grassroots street credibility that the foundation needs to do the work that we're trying to do in our community.
That's awesome.
And I look at things from a very fresh perspective, I guess you can say. Looking at a proposal and just giving your opinion. Lots of jobs are not interested in your opinion, right? They just want you to do what they want you to do, and your opinion, you can kind of keep it to yourself. They might listen or they might not, but that was completely different when I started working here. It was different to have someone actually care about what I thought.
That's amazing, right? I mean, we all want that. We want to be able to contribute our voice, contribute our ideas. This gives you a place to be more creative. I have to imagine having been kind of on the other side of grants also gives you maybe an empathy or an understanding of what it's like to be on that receiving side.
Absolutely.
That's got to serve you in this role.
Yeah, and also I don't think that you'll find an executive director that runs a foundation that has actually used the services that we now fund.
Yeah.
Right? Because my
Yeah,
path
right,
in
right.
life wasn't, it wasn't the best path. That's not a path that I would suggest people to take.
Okay.
Quite frankly.
Can't wait to learn more about that.
Yes, it's not a path that I would suggest to people,
Yeah.
but I've used Salvation Army services or, Peace Incorporated and things like that way before I ever knew that I would be in this type of role or position.
But that's so much of the credibility I hear, right, that you were talking about. That's so
Yeah.
much of the ability to connect and understand, right? That not just a cognitive, but an experiential understanding.
Yeah. I actually used to think that empathy was a weakness in a leader, right? Because we were like, why do you care so much?
Right.
And I feel like actually empathy should be a number one quality for leaders because you need to not just talk, but to listen. I do a lot of listening in this particular role and trying to do my best to put my foot in someone else's shoe. Like, what exactly are you experiencing? And so we are really good at accepting organizations from where they are because I want to have a better understanding of who are you? What do you want? Not where Gifford believes you should be.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's a different spin on philanthropy.
So are you measuring the impact of that investment somehow? How do you work with the organization more sustainably or afterwards? What's the role there for you?
Well, so, life is all about relationships. So we build relationships with these organizations. We're out in the community and can actually see the impact. Right.
Yeah, you're here. It's not like you're serving.
It's not like we're sending the money to Chicago. We don't live in Chicago, right? So we're physically here. We can see it, touch it, feel it, use all our senses, right? In addition to that, we also get it through storytelling. So we don't do typical reporting, where you say, so how was it? You send us a report, we read it, and we file it away. Instead, me and my team, we interview organizations and have a conversation like we're having now.
That's awesome.
So how are you doing? How did the program work? How's the board working? Did things turn over? Just have a conversation.
That's awesome.
We enter the information ourselves. We share it with our board, but we also put it in our newsletter, on our website. We feature those organizations and show and use them as an example for other organizations to see.
That's awesome. So we're going to take a ride in the community.
All right.
We're going to check out some of the places that your work, your staff's work benefits, right?
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to that. But before we go, what makes you get up in the morning? Why do you do this? This is not easy work. Some of it you called not so sexy work. What gets you up in the morning? What makes you do this?
Well, first, waking up is a blessing.
Because another day,
everybody didn't wake up this morning.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I see it as a blessing. And I believe that I was blessed to wake up this morning on purpose. Right? So I have a purpose to get up and do what I do because somebody has to do the work. I find that there's not a lot of people who look like me at decision-making tables, particularly in the community in which we reside, right? So it's important for me to get up and continue to move things forward for those grandbabies of mine.
Right? And you're serving such an important model, right, for so many other people. And
Yeah.
that's our mission in this show, is to really demystify leadership and just show real people doing real work in our community. And it's important to have models that look differently, behave differently, think differently for real, I think, holistic leadership in our community. So where are we headed?
So we are headed to Bellevue. That's the street, and we're going to go see tiny homes.
Awesome. And what is it about these tiny homes in Gifford?
So Tiny Homes for Good is the organization that builds them. Awesome. Andrew Lanetta is the executive director.
Okay.
And I am a true believer that leadership matters. I met Andrew Lanetta when he was just in college doing bike rides for the homeless. And if you went on 10 bike rides consecutively, he would give you the bike so that they would have transportation. And now he's evolved into his own nonprofit that builds tiny homes for people who have chronic homelessness issues. So Tiny Homes for Good has gone through one of Gifford Foundation's capacity building programs. Embracing Disruption is what the program is called. And it's a program designed to help organizations see where they are and then figure out where they want to go through consulting and then workshops with a cohort of other nonprofits. Then they're not all going through the same thing.
So it sounds important.
These are the tiny homes right
here. Awesome. Oh, look at this. Right. Yeah.
So I find the Tiny Homes Project very interesting all in itself because Andrew he's very young. He's young and he's had this leadership and wanting to give back, right? Like you have an idea and we consider it like a startup. It's just an organization starts as an idea, then they get into startup. And now he's gotten the organization into growth, and that's when you have to start to put structure around things, right? Figure out fundraising, have a board, you know, you need an administrative assistant. Like you're no longer worried about the toilet paper, you're more worried about, you know, the program.
Well, it starts to get real, right? And not that an idea isn't real, but it goes from idea to manifested creation.
Yes.
Yeah. Am I straight or turn?
Yeah, we're going to go straight.
Yeah, and most people need guidance and help and support and right? And then you start to build a team.
Yes.
Right? You start to build a team around you.
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So where are we headed now?
So we are headed to the Northside Learning Center.
Northside Learning Center.
Yes.
What happens there?
They teach new Americans English, support families, help them with housing, and help them become acclimated, like to the culture, but also how to preserve their own culture.
Yeah.
Right?
Awesome.
How to preserve their own culture. Like you don't have to do everything just because, you know, you're in America. You can still preserve your own
identity and your culture.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Keep your identity.
And how long has this been in existence?
Oh, my goodness. They've been in existence for quite some time. I would say maybe 15 years, if not more.
Fantastic.
Than that. You can come to the North Side and see just about every culture, anything on the North Side.
That is awesome.
Yes. So they're rehabbing this house here.
Very cool.
Because a lot of times when new Americans come here,
they don't have somewhere to
live
and
they
away.
have a certain amount of time to like
find somewhere,
get things together, find housing and all that. And places like Northside Learning Center, Interfaith Works, Catholic Charities have services specifically for new Americans, right? So they have this, they're rehabbing this housing. They redid the mosque. Right? And then this building is like a school and a gathering
Very
space.
Cool. Very cool.
So the next place we're gonna go by is, I'm sure that you know this organization. It's Vera House.
Oh yeah. Yep, I do know Vera House.
Yes, Vera House has a new leader.
Yes.
She's definitely a change agent. Her name is DeQuetta Jones.
Yes, I've met her.
She has not, I don't think she's been in a role for a year.
Probably not,
Yeah, I don't think it's been a year just yet.
Where are we going here?
But like I said earlier, that I really do believe that leadership matters, because leadership can make your organization strong or it can weaken it, right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because it is possible to sink the Titanic.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're making bad decisions, or if you're treating staff some kind of way. Or,
still straight? Sorry.
Yes. Or if you're not listening.
Totally agree.
You know, to your team, you know, you got to be a good listener. You have to be.
Yeah.
You're going to take a right at the stop sign.
I completely agree. And I think all of us, no matter at what level and capacity we're at, needs to continue to cultivate listening and connecting skills. And I mean, the research shows you can keep learning that throughout your whole life.
Right.
Different than IQ, which is kind of, it's actually a little bit preset.
Right.
But the EQ, right, the emotional intelligence, listening, empathy, you can develop that through your whole lifespan.
You sure can.
So this sounds a little cold, but there's sort of no excuse not to.
So Vera House mission is to prevent, respond to, and partner to end domestic and sexual violence and other forms of abuse.
Yeah.
We have been in this community for nearly 50 years.
Yeah.
We are a certified rape crisis and domestic violence shelter program agency. We provide clinical services, prevention education. We serve our elders, so abuse in later life. We have our advocacy department. We have our SANE program, which is our sexual assault nurse examiner. So we are the only ones currently in Syracuse that's responding to sexual assault by way of having our SANE nurses respond to 4 of the major hospitals in our community.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
My gosh.
And we have a 27-bed domestic violence shelter as well as a 9-bed safe dwelling.
Yeah, so your organization becomes more and more essential in our community.
Absolutely.
What are you doing to sustain? What are you doing to keep it going?
Absolutely. So for one, I have to thank our funders as well as our supporters, those that make contributions to our organization to continue doing what we're doing. It's also being innovative and creative.
Yeah, I love it.
We have to think of doing things a little different. We can't always do it the way that we've always done it.
Yeah.
To make sure that we're sustainable. The goal is to work ourselves out of a mission.
So why do you lead? What's your drive? What's your motive?
So I have had the honor of serving in the nonprofit world for over 20 years. And for one, either looking at leadership that's effective or ineffective has really led me to make sure that I am leading in an effective way because leadership impacts the services in the programs that you provide. It impacts your team. It impacts the community. So I believe in being an effective, diplomatic, as well as compassionate leader. Yeah.
Well, you're fighting a good fight here. Yeah. How can we help?
So for one, you know that Sheena, as well as our mayor, Ben Walsh, is serving as the honorary chairs of our New Beginnings Gala.
Awesome.
That is taking place on October 19th. So we're looking for sponsorships. We're looking for honorary committee. We're looking for, if you can't come, but you want to sponsor someone else, that's another way.
All right, that's awesome. Count us in.
Perfect. I'll make sure you get the information.
And then more sustainable than that.
Yeah.
Outside of that event.
So I would say making a reoccurring contribution to the organization every month. I would say even as low if you can afford $10 a month, provide $10 a month to the organization reoccurring. We also have a foundation that was created back in 2005 that is really about helping to advance Vera House.
Awesome.
So we're always looking for contributions to be able to build that fund up.
Awesome. Sheena, thank you.
Thank you.
So awesome.
This
Appreciate
has been
it.
a pleasure.
Appreciate all your time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome.